game between Divine Angels and Gorilla. We've got Divine Angel on the Artist, and we've got Gorilla on the Survivors. How are you doing today, Georgie? Are you excited to see some Wreckers Yard games?
Lovely to be here with you, Autumn. So glad to be back casting for the Chainsaw Slaughter with an immediate hit onto Anna from Electro Doggo. These two teams, we saw them play yesterday. Very good in their performances. Even this team, Gorilla, just very strong survivors to play up against. But Electro Doggo likewise putting up some pretty decent killer results in their own time as well. Piloting Artist on Wreckers Yard, going to be going for a bird shot through the wall. Not quite going to land it. Now, I've played quite a few Artist Wreckers sets in my time. I think this killer is very, very strong on this map. A lot of flat terrain to work with. Not so many opportunities for survivors to dodge the crows. And it's all about making those tiles be able to be chained, be able to avoid going down, but not quite going to work out for Anna. She's going to choose to die pallet. Are we going to see a pallet save come through?
Doesn't look like the pallet save is going to come through quite yet. And this is something we see often on these Wreckers Yard sets, is pallet saves are so apparent. They happen so often, and we're already seeing a gen pop for that first chase, even without that pallet save. So Gorilla putting up good gen pressure, even with that little mistake there of not fully committing for the plan that they had in mind. But they seem to have the gen pressure to match it. We do see one pain res getting used. I'm curious to see if we'll see any other gen pop, or if that'll be the only one for a little bit. And we see that Electro Doggo is looking for Dan, who was around for the pallet save, trying to see if maybe he's here, already pre-rotated for the save. Although there is a chance that he's already left and gone to a generator, so Doggo has to be careful not to let them triple split their gens and camp too hard, because that could very easily lose them the game over time. It looks like they're going to be venturing out a little bit, looking for survivors, which is definitely the right call. They spot Dan with a bird on this hill gen, so they know that Dan is not around for the pull, although they seem to think that someone else might be around for it. If they can catch someone out rotating and get an early tag and force the unhook earlier, that would put them in a very good spot.
Yeah, those new 70-second hook timers do pose a giant threat to Artist and any sort of camping killer. It's just going to take so much time to take at that second stage. We see a double unhook coming through, successfully gone off. A borrowed time hit comes through onto Anna, so maybe she won't be able to make too much use of that. But Electro Dog going to be holding on to Chase. Actually, hold that thought. Drops Chase, goes for Dan in the tile, swings to the pallet, but Dan with a great greed is able to find his way through and out of that death spot. Now we kind of have a slowdown of the game. We need to find our tunnel out if you're on the side of Doggo and want to try and get a 4K here. Getting to that 3v1 is essential. And yes, we do find Anna going to the tile 3. Going to be setting up a bird for the through the wall shot, but not quite going to be able to line it up. Some pre-drop pallets here, but Anna will be going down. That's going to be second stage.
Second stage 2, and not quite making it under this pallet either. If Doggo wants to, this is a basement hook as well, since she did die middle of the map, and I think that might be what Doggo is going for. That agitation allowing him to get to basement just a little bit faster. And getting a basement hook here as Artist on Wreckers Yard is so strong. Especially for a second stage. Putting her on the front hook and gonna go upstairs and try to pressure these gens immediately. We do see one gen popping. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a second one. But either way, Doggo is in not the worst spot right now and is able to probably get this tunnel out rather quickly. Just needs to be careful not to waste too much time on the hook. As you mentioned before, those 70-second hook timers very much changing the pace and meta of the game right now. And overcamping is really punishing killers these days. But with the basement hook, it's going to be very hard to unhook this, as Artist can pressure multiple survivors down the staircase if they come in for the unhook. So Gorilla, an experienced team, knowing this, might not even attempt to go for the save and just split their gens right now.
Yes, Gorilla are a very disciplined team. They know exactly how to use those 70-second hook timers to the perfect execution, or if you will. But those hook timers really do hurt. And I mean, yes, you have a basement, and the one advantage you have with Wreckers Yard basement is you're able to kind of proxy the gens without going too far, right? It's in the center of the map, direct line of sight, direct middle, so there's always an opportunity to go back and interrupt it. And basement is doubly difficult to get out against Artists, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them just leave Anna to die on this hook and just triple split the gens, which is exactly what we're seeing. And this team knows what they need to get this win con. But I mean, look, we've seen this team like 6-stage killers before. This might, are we going to see a 4K potentially? I mean, Doggo is playing very good on Artist here, lights out even.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on, honestly, this chase right here. Not having every survivor reset for the 3v1 means that if Dan goes down here and gives a pain res hook, it could snowball out of control from here, but it all depends on how fast this down comes in, as Dan is making his way over to this tile, does make this window vault. We'll have to see what exhaustion he has. It doesn't look like he has live, and he's sticking around this tile. We do see the generator popping, and we know that there is decent progress on that deep 9 gen as well, the one that Dan had left before. Making another resource here, Dan pre-throwing the pallet, and Doggo just trying to get around Dan, excellent job dodging this bird, but I don't think they can really make much, and they're just going to go die corner.
Wow.
Will it be enough time before the pain res? Though, you know, wasting a little bit more time looping this rock, those extra couple of seconds really can make a difference, as now Doggo just needs to race the clock here, get this pain res hook before that generator pops. If Doggo can get this pain res hook, then he might be looking at a higher stage game. Doesn't look like he's going to get it in time as the gen just pops. All the gens completed, no pain risk to come in play. Although we do see that Noah is going to be in play here, and maybe he can get some downs with this. There is always potential for a 4K in this situation, though if these survivors play their split properly, we shouldn't see anything more than just a decent amount of stages here. I don't predict a 4K here if they are splitting well, which it looks like. We see Spitz here in this deep area right here, and we don't see a second survivor as they've probably rotated around. And so Doggo chasing, they aren't aware of the Noad quite yet, unless they've been keeping track of perks really diligently, but it looks like that's gonna be the hit coming in for Spitz. The Noad's not even gonna come into play besides the haste status effect here, and Doggo just gonna be committing chase. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the unhook coming in here soon, so Doggo really needs to get this down quickly. And there goes the Noad instantly. No more Noad to worry with Kexo right now, and now he just needs to down Spitz right here. Spitz gonna be getting shot by the birds, just barely gets the birds off, and now is being swarmed once again. Very excellent chase here from Spitz.
Wow, just great micro fakes from all these survivors. We saw in the chase with Dan earlier, and now in the chase with Spitz, these micro fakes making the artists second guess themselves just enough to buy time to get these crows off their back. And Spitz just having the chase of a lifetime, not only holding chase long enough for Noah to be cleansed, but the unhook to come through. Electro Doggo needs to secure this down, and it will become inevitable at this point with the Z-wall, but Spitz has been known to juice his Z-walls before. Finally going down. That'll be a third fresh hook on the board for Electro Doggo, and probably going to be ending out here at 7 stages. But unless we've seen this team Gorilla, they are unwilling at times to give out their that death hook. They like to play for it, as we saw yesterday in the Oni mats on Charlton House. So they love playing for it. They want to go for it. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to even pull this off. I mean, that walk to that gate at 6 is not an easy walk. It's a little bit ways away. We see Kexo holding the gate open. Dan hovering somewhere in this tile 9. Are we going to see a potential pull?
Yeah, I think they're absolutely going to go for the pull here, and it's really going to come down to how they play this unhook and what exhaustions they might have. If they have decent exhaustion split, if they still have their sprint burst, if they still have their live, they might actually be able to make some plays here. It looks like they might honestly even pressure this gate, which is definitely the right call, because Doggo is going to be forced to hit eventually, and basically Kexo's just giving Dan all the time in the world to work this gate. Doggo has to tag Dan at some point, and if Dan is the sprint burst, which it looks like he is, and look at him go, he's going really far away. This is exactly what I'm talking about with these exhaustion usages. If you're the right exhaustions in these moments, you just have to play around them to take that distance. As we see Kexo getting hit, everyone injured now. Can Doggo convert any of these birds into an injury? We see the scar or the severed hands coming in, and we see 3 people swarmed. We might be getting the birds back in time, but I don't know if that's going to be possible, as all of them are now getting the birds off, and no matter who goes down, they can just heal tech them out. So I don't think this is going to result in any more stages, as they are getting the 3 out for Gorilla here.
Wow. What a statement by Team Gorilla, not willing to give up any more stages. They are saying, we will save in the end game. I don't care how much you've got on the side. We will make that pull happen. And unbelievably, but they are able to save that hook and make cross-map distance with a good set of pathing and body blocks. What a team statement by Gorilla. We'll be back with you for Gorilla's Killer on Artist Records. Stick around. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to match number 2, day number 2 of the Chainsaw Slaughterhouse, sponsored by your one and only Grindhouse DVD. I'm back on the cast with Autumn. We are back for the returning matchup between these two teams. This time, Gorilla is killing, Spitz representing them on the Artist here in Wrecker's Yard, and we see a little bit of a different build. This time going for Ruin Undying Pain Resonance, and we can see the add-on of the Egg and the Severed Hands. Egg is going to allow you to shoot a couple more crows. That shotgun playstyle going to be a bit more valuable. And wow, immediately through a wall shot, Spitz putting this survivor into the injured state. And Groom might be a little bit zoned here for an early death.
Yeah, this is not the spot you want to be in as soon as you get injured off the start of the game, as there's not a whole lot you can do here. And that's going to be the first down coming in so much faster than the last game here. Getting zoned out, getting tapped up here on the top side of the map, and that's going to be an instant hook. I don't even think Spitz needs to use pain res here, as they've only just barely rotated. We saw one survivor rotating along with this one, and one survivor was on a totem, so only one survivor could have possibly been on the gen for almost that entire chase. And we hear some of these gens, they have some progress on Shack, which is just going to be a massive time waste in the end, as Ruin is just going to kill the rest of that progress. We see the other Hex Totem towards the middle of the map that Spitz can definitely defend, and Spitz is just in a very good spot, especially considering the low stage win con here. He actually can't afford to camp this, as there's no gen pressure on the board right now.
Yeah, you can see Spitz setting up the slingshot on the gen. We've seen this. This is top tier artist play, where you kind of say you can't work that gen unless I can give and I can remove a health state at any time if you do so, with that bird mark and then the subsequent follow-up bird coming up for the injury. So survivors have to be severely careful about how they operate those gens with those birds in the vicinity. Severed Hands proccing on this generator at 6. Spitz sees it right away. Gonna be good for a shot onto Stiga. Is it gonna hit? No, not quite. This is so important on the survivor side for these sets, is just not giving these long-range tags to Artis. I mean, she can be so close to the hook while amp this out, but we talked about it in the first game. These 70-second hook timers matter a lot, and there it is, the last second pull. Last second trade comes in. Are we going to see a slug?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a slug and a chase just going for the tunnel out here. It's interesting to see, oh. Never mind, just picking. Honestly, they might be trying to take their pain risk here, as that gen is being doubled. This is one of the things I was going to mention, is they're doubling a gen while a survivor is being camped, which means they're losing a lot of pressure in this moment by doubling that gen, especially if this pain risk comes through and hits that gen, which is exactly what happens. They're losing all their gen pressure once again, and now they're playing really greedily for this totem and getting a tag for it, and it's putting them in a very rough position where unhooking this is going to become very, very difficult, as Spitz can just pressure these survivors, pressure their only gen progress, playing for that tap here if they can get the injury. But it looks like the star is already rotating off the gen. This is the only healthy survivor, so the other two are probably resetting during this time, as this person is the only one that can pressure the save. They have to play their distance here. They have to be careful not to give a tag too early, or else no one's gonna be able to save the survivor for a little while. And we see not much gen pressure happening right now because of the situation they're in.
Yeah, giving away that tag for greeting on that totem was not the play. It is going to slow him down here, but maybe we'll just see an adaptation where Naza's opted to go second stage while they just simply work. But this gen at 6 is pretty much all for naught with this hook placement. It's not going to be able to be workable, so we have to see either a reset and a pull come through soon, or generators popping the distance. And now we begin to see what their plan is on the survivor side. Just going to let them go second on the hook.
Oh, that was an injury.
Wow.
She accidentally ran into the line of sight of the bird and got injured, so everyone's injured. It's good that they're pressuring their gens right now, but we were seeing a second stage come in. There's going to be 3 stages at 4 gens. Now they're resetting, but they only have 1 gen finished right now, which is putting them in a rough spot, especially since this is all their, or most of their progress is on this generator right here, and with Ruins still active, Spitz can just hold this gen, hold this hook, and not let them get a whole lot. If Spitz gets this down right here, this could be catastrophic for Divine Angels. They're setting up 4 birds, and they're getting stuck in the corner here, shooting the birds and getting the down, and it's going to be going for the pickup, just playing very slowly for these stages, just going one at a time. No need to tunnel, no need to camp too hard, just taking it one stage at a time and just meeting the win con slowly as the generator progress is being put to a halt. We see pain res on this gen as well, indicating that this is the most active gen. We see the FTP coming in, as a tunnel out at this moment would be pretty much lights out at that point, so they need to keep their survivors alive, but they have to be careful because giving up any stages here can result in the win for Spitz, as this is going to be the 5th stage coming in, and Spitz only needs 1 more stage now to close out this win con.
You can see the power of that egg out on just letting you slam 4 birds down on the board and just shooting. He was greeting for that injury on the Fung Min and the down on Nancy, and is able to get the down on the FTP player. Yeah, now Spitz is playing lights out. I mean, we've seen this so much before, where oftentimes in competitive play, it's sometimes a little overstated how important it is to get a tunnel out. Maybe Spitz greeting for a direct bird hit a little bit too much there. Not going to be able to get too much fruitfulness from that unhook. Yeah, we talked about it where sometimes it's all about get the tunnel out, put it through going. When you have this much pressure on the board, sometimes the better macro play is just not to tunnel. I mean, when you're just able to collect these injuries and the down's so available, it makes it quite easy to just keep the pressure going. But the Electro Dog will be going down onto the pallet. Palisade tries to come through. Spitz sniffs it out, and that's going to be another injury. That's probably going to be a death soon. I think the Doggo's on the second hook, and either way, though, that is the final stage that will win it for Spitz.
Oh my! multiple downs here with the egg add-on. I think
did
it's
I
all
just
for naught
watch?
anyway, because that is just an insane play right there, getting all those tags, getting all those downs, and we see Shock Pallet going down, and it's all up to Groom now to see if he can get any recovery out of the situation. Spitz has already met the win con at this point, so it's just going to be playing for best result, and these survivors just need to recover from this position. They have no gen pressure. They only have one survivor up. Spitz just got an insane shotgun with those birds. And now they're stuck in the corner of the map here. Can they get out of this position? We see Groom already taking distance, taking that tag away so that Electro Doggo can get out of the corner. But they're still in a really rough spot here after that double down.
That just looked, I don't know about you, Autumn, but that looked like dominoes falling down. He set them all up, and then finally it came down with the fist of a hammer. Force of a hammer going on to the Nell. And all those birds came down and put everyone into dying state. What a wild artist set this has been. Spitz playing insanely, ludicrously well on the artist here, and showcasing just how strong she can be if played in the right scenario and the right survivor mistakes are made. Pallet drop comes through, able to make the bird cleanse is Naza, but Naza now stuck behind this pallet. Birds are back up. Spitz going to be going for the shotgun. Is he going to be able to hit it? 4 birds on the table, and no! The cleanse does come through, but inevitably Naza will be going down due to the zoning from the birds. It is just the power of artists. I mean, yeah, you can dodge a bird, but can you dodge a swing? Not really.
Yeah, that's going to be the death hit coming in onto Naza. Once again, the win con is already met. So at this point, everyone is just playing for best result that they can possibly do, showcasing what they can do here. And we do see some resets coming through. It looks like they want to play this out as safely as possible, but we do see an injured survivor getting into chase here. And so they need to be careful, because if a down happens right at this moment, it could be very hard for them to continue pressure. We see the W key happening over here to the bus tile. Very excellent play here from Groom, taking distance, putting distance between him and the killer. And now the question is, can he get out of this little area? There's no pallet over here. If he can W key somewhere, but it looks like he can't make it back around to any filler pallet, so he's just going to be dying in the corner, just wasting as much time as possible, taking it away as far away as possible from gens. And that's going to be another gen popping for that. So excellent play here from Divine Angels, getting another gen out of a very sticky situation, as Spitz is going to be taking another hook here onto Groom. We see the Ruin going down, and another hook stage coming in for Spitz. As he gets the hook here, that's going to be the second stage for Groom. We see one survivor still injured, one survivor is healthy. Divine Angels can maybe get a 1 or 2 gens out of this if they play this properly, but it's all going to really depend on how they play around this hook.
Yeah, with a mid game like that where we saw 3 slugs on the ground and even more injuries coming through repeatedly, it's surprising to see them even make it this far. Now the win con has already been met for Team Gorilla, so this match is already kind of determined, but we are just playing for the best result here. And I mean, like, a lot of this match just really kind of goes back to showcase how Artist has played around hooks. I mean, look, we saw in the first Artist match playing very, very tightly around your hooks, and if you're playing Artist, I think that is a mistake, because you're just not that threatening. I mean, yeah, you can mark people from a distance, and hold that thought though. We see the pull come through, but Spitz not chasing Groom Ace on death hook, so gonna choose to opt to go for the unhooker Electro Doggo. Oh, hold that. That's actually Nancy. I didn't quite hear the whimpers, but yeah, I was talking about it earlier. Artists, if you're just from a distance holding your hook tightly, you're just not going to be able to be that effective on the board. And we saw Spitz was going out there, putting birds onto the gens, being more active, being in more active presence, pressuring those injuries, and making sure the survivors had to either determine to pull early or just not make any gen pressure. Sigga to be going down in the corner at the corner 7, and the gen pops in the distance for that chase. So a good play from the survivors.
Yeah, getting a gen for each of these chases is actually a very good showcase here from Divine Angels. Again, you mentioned they were triple slugged in the mid game, and yet they managed to pop 2 more gens from that position. Honestly, very well played from that point on. You know, the mistakes were made, obviously. They didn't meet their win con, but they're still in it and they're still playing, which you have to commend them for.
Yeah, this team certainly a little bit through the ringer. Team Gorilla, not easy for any team to verse, I imagine. Okay, a little bit of a maybe statue situation. Everyone's just kind of saying, hey, if I don't move, he can't see me. He's like a T-Rex. I'm not sure, but Ace getting caught out there, and Electro Doggo likewise over in that corner. So Spitz now knows where every survivor is on the map. Chooses just injury Ace, leave him to be leading somewhere. Now the pull does come through. Is it going to be a trade? No! Pull does come through in the nick of time. Doggo able to get that without it being a trade. Now Spitz onto the chase, onto our Jill player here, but a swing through the pallet is going to determine her death immediately. Wow, I think we're... Unless Ace is able to get a gen popping soon, I think this is going to be a 4K2 result.
Yeah, definitely looking like a 4K2, although that Shack Gen does have some progress, but popping that at this point in the game is going to be very difficult as it is the central most gen. Second stage coming in for Doggo right next to this generator too, so you have to hope for Divine Angel's sake that they have progress on another gen. Looks like Spitz is going to be making his way over here, and it doesn't seem like it's a lot of progress, so I don't know if Divine Angels is going to manage to get another gen out of this, but again, getting 2 gens out of that bad situation from the start is already good enough, and good enough of a showcase here. And we see Groom really not having many resources in the area, is just going to have to die corner, which is going to force the unhook instantly here, meaning that no one's on gens, and this is going to be the kill here on to Groom.
Yeah, just stacking pressure onto pressure. Now we're in the 2v1, both injuries on the board, so no healthy survivor to work with. You either got to have a long 70-second chase to get a gen pop, or choose to reset and try and stealth it out. Spitz likely going to close this out at 4K2 unless we see miraculous chase coming through, but the chases haven't lasted that long so far. And
especially with both of them being injured, I don't really think there's much you can do in that situation. You got 2 survivors left, they're both injured, and not a lot of gen progress to go off of. As long as Spitz just plays this properly, bounces between them, there's not really a whole lot they can do in this position.
yeah, no ruin and dying at the very least, so there is an opportunity to play a little bit slow. We do spot injured Electro Doggo on this corner gen over at 1. Spitz gonna be opting to put a bird there. The trap gonna be played, but no! Electro Doggo baiting it out, but does actually dodge the bird. A reverse stun does come through onto Spitz, swinging through the pallet, trying to get the mind game off there, but not quite gonna be able to make the hit in time. Spitz setting up a multitude of traps. Electro Doggo trapped in the corner. Is he gonna be able to make the right guess at the right time? Goes edge map, only getting marked. Will eventually go down due to the pathing. Yeah, man, talk about a rock in a hard place. You get that many birds put up on you, your only option is like, well, I guess I gotta win the gamble, and sometimes all you can do is just say, I'm not gonna play the gamble at all and go edge map. Sagata really wants to get this gen, just say, you know what, even with that mid game, we got the 4K1, and I'd be impressed with that, considering the mid game triple slug, but
So
not
close.
quite. Spitz will stop that.
So close. Yeah, just absolutely dominant performance here from Spitz. So much pressure throughout the entirety of the game, not really giving them a break or any moment to get that back and showing some honor for his teammates. Spitz is going to be given the hatch of saying, you know what, guys, you got triple slug, but you popped 2 more gens, almost 3. I'm going to give you the hatch because you guys played that well. So very well played from both sides, in all honesty, but that is going to be the win for Gorilla. And we are going to see you guys all soon for another Records Yard set between 2 other teams, so please stick around to see that soon.